Hey everybody, this is GGB, and today we're going to be talking about the first game of the entire college football season. Let's go, baby. We're back. Bring it in. Let's fucking go. Let's go, baby. I think everyone's just excited as I am. College football is back, and we actually get a banger to start off the college football season in week 0. We got a banger last year. If you remember, the first game of the college football season last year was Georgia Tech, Florida State. And while that game did not have nearly as many playoff implications as we all thought it had at the beginning of the year when Georgia Tech upset Florida State, it was still an amazing football game. It is probably the best way to start off a college football season. Let's see if we can top it this year. We got number 22, Iowa State, who's gone 11-3 last year, taking on number 17, Kansas State, 9-4. Kansas State favored by 3 on ESPN. This is in Dublin, Ireland. For those who do not know, we normally start the college football season in week 0 in Dublin, Ireland. Rocco Becht for the Cyclones went 271 to 456 last year, thrown for 3,505 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Carson Hansen had 151 carries for 752 yards and 13 touchdowns. Jalen Knoll had 80 catches for 1,194 yards and 8 touchdowns. For the Wildcats, we got Avery Johnson, who went 217 to 372, threw for 2,712 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. DJ Giddens had 205 carries for 1,343 yards and 7 touchdowns. And Jace Brown, I think, had 47 catches for 823 yards and 5 touchdowns. Iowa State is 54-50 against Kansas State all time. This was actually one of the closer rivalry games. If you're going to be talking about rivalries and overall record, only 4 games separates these two, and they've played 104 football games. This is actually an extremely close rivalry that we've been watching the past couple of years. Last 2 games have gone to Iowa State in 2023 and 2024, and last 3 have been one-possession football games. They've been rather close ones. Iowa State, Kansas State, Farmageddon at the end of the year has been an amazing game to watch more years than it hasn't. And last year it had insane implications. If you remember last year, it's the last game of the regular season, again, rivalry week. And Kansas State played an Iowa State team that was really good, and Iowa State eked out a win over a really good Kansas State team. Iowa State went to the Big 12 championship. For those who do not remember, it was an insane year for the Big 12 last year, where so much so that we had 4 teams legitimately vying for the conference championship spot, and it went down to the wire last year. Iowa State and Kansas State. Iowa State was in the mix. Arizona State was in the mix. BYU was in the mix. And this game broke BYU fans' hearts because if Iowa State had found a way to lose this game, BYU would have been the Big 12 championship and arguably probably was a better team last year and would have had a chance to play their way into the college football playoff. Now, these are 2 teams that I think a lot of people expect to be really good, and I think that there's real reason behind it. Both these bring back their quarterbacks. Rocco Becht and Avery Johnson both come back. Carson Hansen comes back for Iowa State, their leading rusher. Chase Brown, their leading Kansas State's leading receiver for last year, does come back as well. So I think these teams are extremely interesting if you're going to be talking about going into the college football season. I'm going to be dropping my college football playoff top 25, my 12-team playoff. Here's a spoiler, I don't have either of these 2 teams in it, but this is a great way to start the college football season off. You're talking about 2 teams that are absolutely going to be vying for that Big 12 title this year, right? Big 12 is such an interesting conference because any team could legitimately make a run at it, right? But Iowa State and Kansas State, they're ranked, right? These are teams that people think should be really good this year and think can compete for that playoff spot for the Big 12. Obviously, there's not just one playoff spot, but a lot of people do believe that the Big 12 is probably only going to send one, max 2 this year, right? So this game's really interesting. If you're looking at it, Iowa State brings back a lot of talent. Kansas State brings back a lot of talent, which is something that's really cool about the Big 12 is so many of their teams bring back the quarterback from year previously, and if they don't, they bring in a really good transfer, right? And that makes it wide open of a race. Kansas State was a team that I was really bullish on last year, and not to say that they were bad, but they went like 8-4 in the regular season. They didn't have nearly the playoff expectations that I expected them to be. I expected them to be that playoff team in the Big 12 last year. I think I picked them last year for the playoffs. I mean, you can go back and double check me. I think it was the Ole Miss Week 1 is where I dropped the 12 team that I think were going to make the playoffs last year. But I was really bullish on Kansas State last year. I'm going to be a little bit more reasonable this year. I don't think Kansas State is a playoff team. I do think they are the better team than Iowa State, right? This year, again, they're on a 2-game losing streak to Iowa State. That really hurts in a rivalry that matters a lot. And I think we saw something last year that was similar in Kansas in the opener, is that Florida State typically dominates Georgia Tech. And this year, Georgia Tech got the better of them. Obviously, this is a much bigger rivalry in terms of those teams. But I think Kansas State is the better team. I'm not very bullish on Iowa State this year, although I wasn't very bullish last year, Iowa State fans. So, I mean, take my words with a grain of salt. I like Kansas State a lot this year. I like the Wildcats to be a very good team. I like Avery Johnson to make that next step in his progression as a quarterback. And again, Kansas State is favored by 3. I think there's a reason behind that. I think not only they win, but I think they win by more than 3. Give me Kansas State to win by like 10 or 12.